Hi everyone, let's talk about Aeges and their new album, DrØmmen. This is the fourth studio album from California alt-rock and post-hardcore band Aeges. In 2012, they released their debut album, The Bridge, which not many critics liked. But despite the critics, they continued to release albums. In 2014, Above and Down Below was their sophomore release. In 2016, Weightless, and now we have DrØmmen. If you were to ask me who this band was, based on the title of the album and the name of the band, I would have probably told you they're from, like, Europe or something. But no, they're from the great state of California. And I actually was not going to review this album because I didn't actually know it existed until a commenter on one of my videos said, "Hey, you should review this." Okay, I will, because I do that. You can literally put most any album that's been released this year, or is going to be released this year, down below, and I will most likely review it, if it isn't on my schedule already. Look, I have a pretty schedule right here, but I will totally take the time to review an album that you want me to review that has been released in 2020 or that is going to be released in 2020. So remember that. So before going into this, I didn't know what I was going to get myself into. I tried to familiarize myself with the band, and I figured out that they were making pretty much 2000s alt-rock, which isn't bad. I don't mind that era of rock music. They totally do the sound justice, and they totally do it justice on this album too. The one thing I am surprised about this record is that very, very, very few people know about it. Like, this thing has 10 ratings on Rate Your Music. And it's worse on Album of the Year because it's only 2, which is a damn shame because I think this is a pretty interesting and a really good effort from the band. On this album, you have 7 tracks, 31 minutes of material. This is also one of their shortest albums yet. Starting up with the track Drifter, which begins with some, I believe, some guitar feedback or something, and then it quickly gets into these pummeling alt-rock riffs. And the vocals come in after a few seconds, and I do like the majority of the vocals on this album. I also liked the screamed vocals at the end of the album too. The drums, the guitars, everything about this song has a good amount of energy to it. I guess maybe the vocals don't have the same energy as the rest of this song does, but nonetheless, I think they actually make a contrast with this song, and it all comes together very nicely for one hell of an opener to an album. And then we have the song Pain, which is even heavier than the first track. Like, you thought the riffs on the first track were heavy, listen to this song. This song is just same kind of story on this track. The guitars, the drums, they all have great energy to them, and the vocalist is more melodic. But again, it's a good contrast, and I don't mind these 2 tracks to begin the album off. The song Blind and Dreaming, while it does the same ideas that Pain was doing, I wouldn't call this the worst track on the album. I would probably call it one of the weaker moments, however. Just like a lot of the songs on this album, this song in particular sounds like it was pulled straight from the 2000s. And again, that's not a terrible point that I'm trying to make here. It's actually a really good point because I like that 2000s metal alt-rock scene. The song Drink the Water has more of an eerie and creepy vibe to it than the rest of the songs on the album. It does make for one of the better moments on this record too. Like, I like the creepiness that this song gives off, the eeriness. Wailing guitars in the background, pummeling guitar riffs in the foreground, and these, again, the drums are really good. Kinda like Blind and Dreaming, the song Believer kinda does the same ideas that the other tracks were. We do get a change up with the song Dream State, however. As near the latter middle of the song, if that makes sense, there's a quiet, subtle passage with these backing female vocals, and then we get hit with the pummeling guitar riffs again. It all adds up to a song that's like 5 minutes long, and it actually doesn't feel boring throughout the entire runtime. The last track on the album, A Room Full of Mirrors, if you take the crummiest alt metal and groove metal band and mold them into a great amalgamation of the genre, you have essentially this track. It's not corny, it's not cheesy, it's not too freaking melodramatic. It feels stark, not corny. The production is heavy, not thin, and the vocals match so well with this track. And as an entire album experience, this might be the first time I'm saying this for an album this short, but I actually like the length of this project. But that does come with a bit of a problem here. I find a lot of these songs have their ideas kind of repeated throughout the entire track. I definitely see that there's still fat on some of these songs and that they could totally be trimmed down a little bit. The track Blind and Dreaming, as well as Believer. Maybe a little bit of Dream State, although it's still a good track nonetheless. But overall, I thought the sounds on this album were not only really good for a rock album production-wise, but the riffs were incredibly righteous, kick-ass drum work that could be improved on, but nonetheless still kick-ass. Now the other point I would like to make is that the vocals on the record, again, I would like to hear more screamed vocals, and I would like to hear better lyricism too. Sometimes it comes off a little corny, just a little bit. Maybe say something socially aware, or maybe have a good hook. But other than that, I think this album is really good. I would recommend you check it out. But these minor criticisms are just holding me back from loving this record as much as I would really like to. Maybe it might grow on me over there, I don't know. But right now, for me personally, it's a very strong B+. However, I am curious to know, are you going to listen to this album? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you do, what did you think about this album? Leave a like, comment, share, do whatever you want. Let me know how I can improve future videos down below. Remember, this is only my opinion, because music is subjective.